What's up guys, I'm Sean. Today I'm going to be adding another skid plate to my 2021 Toyota Tacoma. So I already have a 2-inch suspension lift on my truck and I'm running 35s, 315, 70, 17s. And when you do a suspension lift in the front of the truck, the entire underbelly of the truck lifts up, so you gain a lot of ground clearance. But in the rear, because it's a solid rear axle, no matter if you lift your truck up 2 or 3 inches, the truck body goes up, but the differential doesn't change. The only way to get a little bit more ground clearance from the rear differential is to run bigger wheels and tires. And I'm running 35s right now, which brought the rear diff up a little bit. I'm going to run a skid plate to add a little bit more protection to the rear diff. This is what I'm going with. Differential skid plate from C4 Fabrication. So it comes in raw steel, so I'm gonna have to clean it up, primer and paint it before I install it. So this skid plate has a spot for the drain bolt and also areas where water or rain or snow or anything can drain. Here's the inside of it. So this should mount around the solid axle, and this goes on top of the diff, either like this or like this. I need to figure it out. And it comes with a bag of hardware. So the welds look really good. So I'm gonna clean it up a little bit, primer and paint it before I install it. The main problem with the diff hanging so low is that you can scrape it on rocks and boulders. And actually I scraped up my rear diff a few times already. I actually painted it so you can't tell. But if you look closely right here, I actually smashed this a couple times. I still have access to my drain bolt, but if I'm not careful, the more I smash this area up, then I'm not going to have access to my drain bolt, and that becomes a big problem. Even though there's a little lip protecting the drain plug, it's still an issue if you keep smashing this area up. So having the rear diff skid is going to protect the differential, and most importantly protect this area so this area doesn't get smashed up, so I still have access to my drain plug to drain the fluid. The other thing too is that the rear diff skid is going to protect the drive shaft yoke right here to the differential. And the other thing is, I recently upgraded my truck with 529 gears, and I want to protect my quote-unquote investment, and the rear skid plate actually comes up a little bit and protects this area as well, because the back area of the diff is a little bit softer than down here. So having the rear diff skid is going to protect the differential overall and protect the drain plug. Here's the differential skid after I spray painted it. The bracket that goes around the rear axle. This goes to the front of the diff that connects the drive shaft. Slide the diff skid into place and slowly jack it up to position it. And I want to line up the front. So you see this area right here? Line it up. And line this side up as well. And then you want to line up the drain bolt area too. Now I have this front bracket. This L shape faces the front, and the little ears of the plate fall into place. And this is sitting on the diff at the right angle. So that's how you know this bracket is positioned the right way. And I'm going to slowly lift up the front of the diff and loosely install the hardware. Slide the carriage bolt up through the bottom. Make sure the carriage bolt goes through the rectangle part of the plates. So put lock washer and nuts. Carriage bolt. Make sure it goes through the rectangle cutout. perfectly like washer and nut. Right, this bracket right here goes one way and slide it underneath the brake hard line. And it should angle with the skid plate. If it's an awkward angle, then you want to flip the bracket, rotate it 180, because you probably have it the wrong way. So now I'm going to loosely install the hardware, this side and the other side. Now remember, when you install the bracket back here, make sure it goes underneath the brake line and it doesn't touch or squeeze the hard brake line at all. Alright guys, that's a wrap. Rear differential skid plate installed. Everything's tightened down. Make sure the carriage bolt goes up and through the slot so that way it stays in place once you start to tighten down the nuts. This side as well. And the skid plate offers protection to the drive shaft and the differential yoke. So some skid plates don't have this front piece, but this one does. That's why I like this C4 Fab skid plate. A little bit more protection to the front. So this skid plate gives more protection to the rear diff. I probably lost about ½ an inch of ground clearance, but that's okay, because now I can just slide over rocks with this plate. This plate is 3/16" steel, so now I don't have to worry about smashing my diff. This plate will take all the force, and now my drain bolt has a little bit more protection. And on the back side, the skid plate goes up about 1/3 of the way of the diff, so it gives the back of the diff a little bit more protection. But I still have access to my fuel bolt, and I have access to my drain bolt. So pretty straightforward install. Now my rear differential has more protection. I can slide over rocks and not have to worry about it. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.